Hello, my astrology family. This is Lada from Astrolada.com. And due to popular demand and interest, people required us to make another video with Ian. Last time we spoke about self-worth issues, and we're going to continue on that topic. Hello, Ian.
Hey guys, it's good to be here again. I read a lot of the comments, below the first video, and we didn't mention all of the configurations and how they might play out. So today we're going to bring you some more configurations and issues associated with them as well.
Yes, self-worth is such a big topic because not only does it hurt you as a person and with boundaries and how others perceive you depending on your self-worth, but it determines your value on the market. It determines, like we spoke last time, what kind of salary you receive, what kind of uh, reward you receive for your efforts, because as you perceive yourself, this is how others will reward you. And it's a big part of negotiations. This is what Ian is making a course on the 23rd of May. Check it out. It's extremely affordable. It's going to be a few hours. He's going to cover all matters regarding self-worth and how to remedy and how to make best deals and how to basically negotiate for yourself the best deals. And this is such an important and practical webinar and such an important practical topic that we're going to continue to talk about today in nowadays times. So Ian, the floor is all yours.
Okay, thanks a lot for that introduction. I'll do my best to share the screen as well. And, there it is. I'll make it bigger as well. Can you see it now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So let's start with, I think, one of the hidden issues in a person's chart, in a person's life as well, because, we talk about astrological configuration and stuff like that, but these configurations usually play out in a very practical, material way in the world. And I want to start with a person feeling unseen or even invisible by one of the parents. And this usually leads to a lot of confidence issues, self-worth issues in the world, even being very, very hesitant to create in the world, to bring themselves out into the world. Now, I want to say that this is the job actually of the parent as well, to see the person very deeply, to see their gifts, to see their unique, expression, talents in a very, very specific way, and to tell this to the child as well, because this builds up the character, this builds up the confidence of the person. And when it's not done, the person can feel again, unseen. Also, there can be like a hole almost in the person's being, and they're very, very hesitant to go out into the world. So one of the biggest configurations I've seen with this specific, let's say, issue or emotional, mental, psychological issue is Neptune in the 4th house. So Neptune is, a lot of you guys know it's a bit of a tricky one. It's a bit of a hazy one. It puts the veil on, and when it goes into the 4th house, the house of the family, a lot of the times the person can even feel invisible within the family, but also the lack of seeing that person's unique gifts leaves that hole inside the person. And this lack can actually lead to thoughts and beliefs in the mind of the person. For example, like, why can nobody see me? And like a real deep desire. And sometimes this desire can actually be hidden as well, because it's Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
And underlying, there somewhere within the person is the desire, to be really seen by someone. Usually it's still directed towards the parents, but when the person grows up, the direction goes out into the world. So it becomes bosses, you know, mentor figures, teachers, you know, stuff like that, or even relationships as well.
Wow.
And
Can
and
I
one of,
ask you something? If you're
yeah,
looking at Neptune in the fourth house, are you going to look at Neptune being in the whole sign fourth house or Neptune close to the IC, even if it's not in the fourth sign from ascendant? Which one would you look at more?
I usually start with the whole sign,
Mm-hmm.
and then I add Placidus as well to it. The stronger I've seen, still I would say whole sign from a statistical, you know, the charts I've seen is more, but Neptune near the IC certainly, you know, can play the same way. So, you know, generally I do like using different systems, different, you know, things. Basically, as long as they work in the real world and I see evidence that they do work in the real world, I'm good with those, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't judge. let's put it that way.
My daughter has Neptune in the fourth sign, whole sign, fourth house. And
Mm-hmm.
because she's very easy compared to her brother, we don't pay her as much attention. She ends up a lot of time doing something on her own while we're dealing with the older brother. So maybe that's already
Mm-hmm.
playing out, like she's not feeling seen enough.
You know, do your best to just, you know, at times pay her some attention and see her uniqueness as well, because you know she probably has a lot of gifts and capabilities that she needs to, you know, just some little you know blessings here and there, you know, you're
Mhm.
doing great and stuff like that. I think that will already help.
Thank you.
um you know, it depends a little, of course, of the aspects of Neptune
Mhm.
as well. If it's like super squared and oppositioned up, probably going to have a hard time there. If it's better aspected, the thing with Neptune and even good aspects, I would say, is still there's always kind of like the danger there with being invisible, some mysticism, you know, some veil, some
Yeah.
problems there. And you know, I mentioned that whole, and you know, a lot of the times, because it's Neptune, because it's the fourth house, because it's such a private, personal house, can be suppressed. So these issues can, you know, the person can't even understand that they have this.
Mhm.
Um, but one of the ways, you know, to start seeing that that you might have this issue is to start noticing your thoughts. Is there like the desire for me to be seen by somebody? Like almost like the thoughts can be, why won't anybody notice me? Like this is one of the big thoughts of how we can, you know, kind of grow and grow and grow. Why can't anybody notice me? So if you notice yourself asking that question of yourself, you might have this kind of issue with this seeing of yourself,
And maybe
or
also they want to be seen on a deep level, someone to
mm,
understand their sense rather than just see them. Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, look at you. You know, it's like on the deeper, because Neptune wants to connect to their sense type of. Okay, carry on.
yeah, I would say, yeah, I would totally agree. You know, the kind of shallow things won't do so much, you know, because it's how do I put this now? I think it's like the parents, in my mind, it's the parents' job to go more deeper, to see the child as a very, very unique, deep being. You know, you know, it's a very spiritual experience we're having on this planet Earth, which we have made very material. And luckily, you know, the things are changing, and we're starting to see things more deeply as well. So hopefully this will start to change. And you know, it will, the Neptune in the fourth house configuration, in my mind, if the parents start to change, the configuration will start to play out differently as well. So we'll start to see some of that as well.
And
No,
sometimes it's like a missing parent or a parent that has is kind of disconnected from the world a little bit, which is Neptune, into their own world. Sometimes it's addiction, and again, the child does not feel seen. And you're right, yeah.
totally.
Okay.
It can literally be. This is one of my, let's say, I think I've seen. one chart with Neptune in the fourth house where there wasn't divorce in the family, or kind of like a separation from the parent. Every other chart, like where I see Neptune in fourth, I ask, like, where was there a divorce or like an absolute? Yeah, everybody is, yes, yes.
Mm.
But even when there's not like a divorce or something there, the general sense is still on a very deep emotional level. The person feels like the parent wasn't there. That's
Mhm.
still there, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Now, um, one of the things you need to start doing is actually start seeing your own brilliance, because like the outer seeing is good as well. And I do recommend, if you can find good teachers, good mentors, good wholesome teachers who have integrity, and they are truthful in the world, guides and mentors like that, it's really good um, for these people to spend time with them, and for them to even see the brilliance of the person. But the problem here is, when it comes only from the outside, the person get addicted to it, and it kind of then the person is only searching for that out from the outside, and the internal actual strength isn't built up. So that's why I mentioned the personal seeing. You can get practical with this, write these down, your gifts down. I used to do this as well for a while, just to kind of prove myself that I got something here,
Yeah.
but it can turn out you just need to pay attention as well, because again, Neptune puts a veil on you, and puts a veil on your kind of brilliance. And that's why I really mentioned this, that you need to pay attention to your gifts, to your capabilities, that you can do things in the world, and you're kind of awesome as well.
Mm. Yeah, it's funny. My whole I was thinking, just my husband has Neptune in the fourth, my daughter, so it's like a family. He comes from a divorced family, but he was the little one, so he didn't feel seen for a long time as well. So wow, interesting.
Th-
Okay.
th- this is, I'm glad to actually bring that up, because these are what I call, well, not only what I call, because I have teachers, I have mentors who give me information, who I learn from. This is one of my favorite teachers actually here in Estonia. And these themes, or let's say energies, I would say energy cycles, can go transform, or transfer from one generation to the other.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we need to, this is where I love astrology, because astrology can give us, the clues, can give us the map where these things might be, where these issues might be, and where we can step in and start to solve them. Because if you have Neptune in the fourth, and your child has Neptune in the fourth, that issue can become her issue, and you can become more proactive in doing your best to give them the presence and the deep seeing they actually deserve as human beings, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
So yeah, family lineage, family issues, I think I really love this topic, but I think such a deep, big topic. Maybe we can do another video on that
Mhm.
sometime.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'll mention some aspects or configuration as well. Sun in the 12th is I've seen similar. It's a weird one as well, because the person can lack confidence. The father didn't give the confidence, or the father is absent. Again, the 12th house, somewhere missing, not there. Very similar. I wanted to really focus on this aspect as well, or this configuration, because I've seen strong charts, like strong charts, super strong 10th house, like Aries 10th, Mars in the 10th, well aspected chart. And the person, like, you can look at the chart and you see, like, this is an entrepreneur, it should be kind of like an entrepreneurial type person, and the sun is in the 12th. and they're sitting there like, oh my God, I don't know, you know, I have these issues, I don't confident. You know, it's a weird one with the sun in that 12. I think again, you know, the confidence needs to be entered into them. So I think where I've done my best to do this as an astrologer, as a mentor to these people is I've tried my best to give, you know, the confidence that they weren't given in that moment. It's like basically just saying like, hey, you can do this. I can see you have the energy, you have the power within you to do this. Go and do it. Just, you know, stop that the voice that's not you
Mhm.
know, true, basically. Yeah, this is
I've
what
seen people, a lot of very successful people with Sun in the 12th house, but they will somehow, for example, they'll be like ghost writers, like they're hidden their name, you know, they write for someone else. Or another person, a friend of mine with a stellium in the 12th house in Aries,
mm.
the Sun there, and he opened up a pharmacy for big animals. Big animals is the 12th house, and
Oh nice.
extremely successful. So if you align somehow to the 12th house, you know, either in something artistic or behind the scenes or ghosting, or I even know someone who is a ghost partner to a business. Actually, it's his business, but he put it on the name of someone else to be the face of the business. And they run, someone else runs the, you know, someone else is like, everyone thinks the other person is the owner, but they're the owner because they're like, it's like almost like a hidden business. And sometimes they can feel more comfortable doing that. You know?
Certainly, it's quite hard for these people to be at the center of attention. So if you need to be, you know, be a little there and then go back to the, you know, behind the scenes and you know, rest, get the kind of recharge in your private time. That's important for this as well. I really like, yeah, I really like how you said, you know, doing some private business. I really like that as a remedy for this as well. Oops. I wanted to say one more thing. So Neptune in a hard aspect with the sun or the ascendant ruler can be very similar as well. Because again, Neptune, you know, bringing that mystical veil and with the sun, with the sun, I want to mention this because with the sun, it's usually the father that didn't, you know, do the seeing. So I need to dive into that relationship.
Absolutely. My husband has that one as well, Sun opposition
Mhm.
Neptune in the fourth, and the
Ooh.
dad was always gone. He was he had a shipping business and fishing, so he was out in the sea, literally Neptune. He would
Mhm.
be back home just 1 month and or 2 months of the year, and he had drug addict alcohol problem for many,
Mhm.
many years. So that's, and of course you're not going to be seen. You're not going to feel seen when someone
No.
is in their own addiction or gone away all the time. So absolutely, absolutely correct. And my husband has issues with self-worth, a lot, you know, of that he's working through.
Very good. Uh,
Mm.
One more thing, just information is starting to flow again now. It's important to understand because Neptune, I mentioned the whale for like 3 or 4 times already, but it very often, especially when you're starting to grow up and you're kind of maturing, the illusion of Neptune is also there to kind of tell you that your childhood was almost perfect.
That's
It
what
was
he tells.
amazing.
Oh, I had a great childhood. And his sister, you crazy? My parents were fighting all the time. We were moving one parent to the other. Our dad was gone, and he was like, "She's mad." We had a one idealization. He idealizes the childhood or forgets. It's a veil of forgetfulness. Totally
Yeah.
forgetting some things. Yeah.
So I'm glad you bring this real life example because I've seen this a lot, like a lot. And then when you, let's say you ask like, this is when you're like a working astrologer, you can like ask or a guide mentor, whatever. You can ask the person like, did you, okay, it was amazing, you know, I'll give you that. I won't argue with you, but did you feel seen? And when you ask that question from
Ah,
them, there's like, you know, you know, something happens there.
wow.
And, you know, I'm not saying it's always going to be super easy to work through this, but I think it's still better to go through the initial pain and you know, maybe transformation to get to the other side.
Wow.
But
Thank you. I've never thought about this. This is such a great lesson about self-worth issues and self-confidence, and to have the foundation and strength to go out into the world, that actually Neptune can dissolve those when it affects the sun, or the sun in the 12th or the fourth house. Brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thanks for saying that. I really appreciate it as well. Now let's go even deeper, because this next one, I was almost afraid of bringing this one up. I'll preface this so as little as well, because you know, generally right now in our society, in a lot of cultures, this is the opposite way. In my mind, in my observations, you know, the roles are reversed right now a lot. The parents, you know, give you know, make the baby or give birth to the baby, however you want to put it, and then it's almost seems like that the energy shifts in the relationships, where when the child is a little bit grown, they are supposed to kind of like start to serve the family. And I've seen now very extreme cases, always almost like being servants to the parents,
Mm-hmm.
which is very painful. And like the the energy within a family, and now I bring that stuff in again, the energy within a family, and especially within a parent-child relationship, should flow from the parent to the children. So this is I think one of the biggest things. You know, if we were talking about psychology and, you know, family interrelationship, it's one of the biggest misunderstandings and thing that needs to be corrected. Because I see a lot of people now being very, very angry at their parents, and this is usually one of the the main area is the roles were reversed somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how the roles were reversed, now let's get into it. But I just want to say, guys, you know, if you felt, um, if you felt like something wrong was done to you, and you kind of can't really even put the finger on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of weirded out, but it's like, I'm angry. I'm really angry at my parents. Like, check this first. Like, even just forget the astrology for a second, you know, and check this first. Check how the relationship was in your childhood home. Were you made the almost like the parent? Were you made responsible for the emotions of the parents?
Uh-huh.
Were you were there duties, responsibilities put on you too early to even care for them? To, you know, sometimes, you know, there's a, you know, karma, and somebody dies, and, you know, you need to take the role there. But if there's none of that, and you were still put into that role,
Mm-hmm.
there's been, I would say, I'm a little hesitant in saying this, but it's still like, in my mind, it's like a karmic thing that shouldn't be done to you in a way, and you need to come out of it. Now, some aspects. Let's talk a little about the astrological configurations as well. Or do you have any questions about this? I know it's a bit of a deep
No,
topic.
no,
No.
it's fascinating. Carry on.
Um, so first, Saturn in the first, fourth, or 10th house. I would even, let's throw in actually the ninth as well. I want to throw in the ninth. Ninth is actually very important here. Um, one of the main ones is Pluto in hard aspect to the moon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, moon is usually the mother, but moon is also the home, the early home environment as well. So it doesn't always have to be the mother. And especially, I'm getting emotional even talking about this, but when the moon is in hard aspect with the Pluto, the parent can actually manipulate the child emotionally. They can put themselves into the victim state. A lot of the times, this is because they don't have the internal capacity. They don't have the internal love that is actually required to be there, because again, this is the family kind of lineage stuff, family energy stuff coming into play here. Their mother, their father didn't give this love to them. They didn't learn to give this to themselves. And now what they do is they try to manipulate that love, attention from the child.
So if you have the moon in hard aspect to Pluto, your parents were like that to you somehow. And you have to be careful that
Unfortunately.
you don't do this to your children.
Yes. I'm not saying every moon Pluto square will play exactly out like that, but this is a very common theme that I'm starting to see in this case. Again, when Saturn is in play, very similar. The hard aspects to Saturn in those already mentioned houses, first, fourth, 10th. Saturn also in hard aspect with the moon, square or opposition. Saturn in Cancer, I started to notice as well, but Saturn in Cancer alone, in my mind, is not enough. There needs to be something there to do with the fourth, the moon, or hard aspect to Saturn as well.
Yes, because
Even,
all people in the world born for 2.5 years while Saturn was in Cancer cannot come from families with big karma and have, so it needs to have hard aspects there or affect the fourth or something like, or the 10th, the first.
I actually wanna a little bit want to add. I forgot to write here. I want to say Scorpio moon. Moon in Scorpio, hard aspects to that moon can play out very similarly, unfortunately. And yeah, just remember, guys, this isn't supposed to happen. And one of the reasons you might be feeling that anger and pissed offness against your parents is that something was done to you that wasn't meant to be done. And in those moments when it was done, you were young, you were very young. So when you are very young, you're mostly scared of survival. You're scared of where the resources are actually coming from. You don't have the capacity to, like, if I challenge these people right now and stand up to them and say, like, this is wrong, you shouldn't be doing this to me, you're scared of what they will do. They will either take away their love, their attention, which is mostly resources or material resources, safety in that shape or form. And that's one of the reasons a person can actually get stuck in those spaces. And one of the spaces where you're stuck and you're angry is that you didn't do the thing you knew internally that you were supposed to do, and stand up and say, like, no, this isn't right, this isn't supposed to be happening.
So should they learn to do that as they grow up instead? Because they couldn't. There was too much
Yes.
control over them, too much fear when they were young. So, or manipulation with Pluto. So what is the remedy when you're grown up?
So first and foremost, I would say to start really practically seeing, are you still dependent on the parents? Or let's say, even if this starts happening you within some work situation, this is also very, very common. If you're still dependent on the resources of these people. Okay, let's use the example of the parents because it's a little bit easier. When let's say there's some debt to them, or let's say they paid something for you, again, it's the same pattern, because it's like what will happen if you stand up to them now? You know, they still have the capacity to, like, I gave you money, you know, I gave you this, I did this, da 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 da. But when the practicalness, practical depthness, or the practical, you know, um, let's say leverage is taken away, you're becoming independent and powerful in the material world. Now it becomes easier to stand up and stand your ground, like, hey, no, I'm not going to do this. This isn't acceptable for me. I'm going to do something else, and you shouldn't be doing this. And now what can very often start to happen, you know, not in only extreme cases, but in very often the cases, the parent becomes scared of losing the love of the child.
Mm.
They literally become, because they in their mind can sometimes be also dependent on the child for that material survival. And now the manipulation, Pluto, you know, moon square manipulation can come from them again, like, yeah, I did all of this to you, you know, you can't do this to me, you have to do blah blah blah. These, you need to be really careful, because they will start to suck you into those spaces as well. So this is where it needs you. The more stronger you are, first and foremost materially, second emotionally, you know, this might be coming again. Astrology can, you know, help here with the aspects and the counseling, or even if you see, you can read your charts on your own. The easier it is in those spaces to still stand your ground and put the boundaries up and say, look, no, you know, thanks, but no thanks. All, just want to warn you, it doesn't mean that it's not going to be painful emotionally. It will still be, you know, because it's so deep emotionally, these wounds can be very deep, and, you know, they have turned these wounds for a while. You know, maybe you're already in your 30s, 40s, whatever, 50s, 60s. They've been turning these for a while, so they can still hurt.
My older brother, who is half brother, he has a different mother than me, but we're so close. He has moon conjunct Saturn, which is one of those combinations. And to this age, his mom, first of all, she put a lot of responsibility on him when he was growing up. She even left to live in a different continent. So he was he had to grow up very fast on his own. And to this day, she emotionally manipulates him. She would be like, oh, I need money. It's for money. It's in the second house that it happens. It's about money, and it makes him feel so guilty if he doesn't, you know, always fulfill all her desires or everything. I shouldn't be talking like that, such things, but it is what it is. And he has this constant pain and feeling of guilt that he's not doing enough for her. That's the second conjunct. But he feels like a strong responsibility to help her buy her cars, whatever, send her money all the time. But it's not healthy, because I see how he feels like that towards everyone, not only her. He feels responsible that he should fulfill. When someone is upset, he should take care of all of the emotional problems, and material problems in particular. And I guess that's how it translates, going from the parent, if you have this combination from the parent doing it on you, then you're projecting it to the rest of the world. How would such people be with their self-worth in the outside world with their career? Would they take jobs that are less than, or too many responsibilities, and not ask for promotion, and not value themselves enough because they used to taking care and responsibility of everything? And how would it play out usually?
Yeah, I would say it's very easy to manipulate these people to do more than they're supposed to do, and to do things that they're not meant to be doing. Because if you think about, I just want to preface this a little bit as well, because if you think about this, who made the choice to conceive you, guys? Think about this from a very logical perspective. Yeah, we can go into spiritual areas and say the souls choose the parents, and yeah, totally agree. We can talk about that as well. But who made the conscious decision to conceive the parent? You know, or sorry, the child. It's the parents. It's still the parents. It's their decision. You know, they brought you into the world as well. So the energy starts to flow from that point on, from them to you. This is how it should go. And if you decide to have children, this is how it should flow from you to them, and so on. Um, so it seems, you know, when you're using the brother example, there is it seems like from a very early age, your brother was meant, or you was made responsible for the emotions of
Mhm.
your of his mother, and
Emotions, and then materially later on.
and then later materially, because this is the thing. Usually the person who makes this happen is feeling very empty inside. I want you guys, I want you really to understand that they don't have the emotional capacity or resources to handle themselves, so they're looking for that energy outside. This is what they do. This is how they operate, unfortunately, until they fill themselves up. And
Many times it
uh,
happens.
unfortunately this is true, because when we start to wait for that to happen, we can be here for a long time.
So they
So
influence people that have this combination, Saturn on angles, like you said, Moon, Pluto, Moon, Saturn combinations. They should learn to put barriers, even to cut off when it's too much to cut off. Parents or others that are taking advantage of them, or that are putting too much pressure on them, or that, taking, how would you say, like, you make such a person, you can be made much more easily to do things a lot more than it's fair. So they have to
exactly.
learn to put those boundaries. Okay.
And guys, you can, if it's something that's happening to you, and it's like literally happening right now, let's say for example, you can feel it. Let's say you're having that conversation, even afterwards, you can take like 5 minutes, you can feel something was wrong, like there's something like off there, and you feel and you understand consciously that you're not supposed to be doing this, but your mind goes into like, okay, I'll do this just this time, kind of makes it okay. Then you're in the danger of being, or taking back into that very same pattern. So I really do, and especially in some extreme cases, I do recommend, even very tough boundaries at times, taking time off, taking, limiting, and then, gradually afterwards going back and seeing if something has changed, has the person learned. And if it starts again, you first and foremost say, no, I don't want this to happen. And if it still continues, you need to put those boundaries and limits, and again limit yourself from those interactions again.
Wow. Getting goosebumps. Thank you.
It's not the easy. I'm literally saying these are most likely one of the toughest ones to be dealing with, that we're saying here. So I want to come back to let's say more of the, like, the remedy part, or the metaphysical remedies, because I want to bring in, the master, the guy I learned from, Nicola, and I'm sad, that he's not longer with us in flesh, but he probably is with us with with all of his energy somewhere. And he was a quite amazing man, and I personally learned a lot from him, and I would just want to kind of honor him in this moment, and also kind of say that what he brought into with these remedies, metaphysical remedies, you know you can start doing and developing your own type of remedies as well. Just need to learn and know a little bit of astrology, and you can start combining these meanings and energies, and using these metaphysical remedies with what we just talked about here as well, like boundaries and understanding these psychological issues that are going on. Because in my mind, what I do like, I like the remedies, I like the metaphysical side, but I do like when they're kind of like working intertwined or together. Because unfortunately, I've done tests in real life with remedies alone, and metaphysical remedies alone. And what starts happening there is, at times, that the teachers come, or the therapist comes who has the answers. So that is good as well, But the important part here when you use these metaphysical remedies is to go with those helpers who might come your way, and go to those deeper rooted issues and try to do your best to solve them as well. The remedies are there to kind of help you, guide you, kind of ground that big energy there for you to be able to work through these issues, you know, emotionally, mentally, psychologically. I'm now even starting to understand that these are like energetically, physically rooted in our bodies, and you know, there are different things we can do there. I won't go into those today, but just for a moment to honor the master, and bring in something you can do with one of the things I've actually gotten good feedback from people is especially Saturn Moon Pluto combos. Now take a vase. This can be a glass vase. I would actually prefer it's if it's a glass vase and you can see through it. With Pluto, let's say, you know, let's bring them all in: Pluto, Moon, Saturn. Let's say you have all of these maybe in a square opposition, you know. I don't want to even think about that, but it happens. Put in that vase, put water first and foremost. Better if it's from a lake or a river. If you can't do that, sure, put, you know, tap water there. But what I've seen is if you take the action of actually going to the lake or whatever, again, the actual, you know, activity is good already. Is better even in my opinion. Now, and put water and put some rocks in it, or sand, and this is it.
Rocks
And
for Saturn, sand for Pluto.
exactly, and put it into your house, in your home. Keep it somewhere safe where you can see it. If you're already more, let's say, I don't know, doing more work, meditating, you can also look at that base and, you know, do meditations and go deep within yourself and work on these issues. But if not yet, just use that as a remedy. Glance at it for once in a while and see what starts happening with you.
It can start a process. It's not going to solve the deep pain of Pluto Moon, Saturn Moon, but it's going to kickstart. It's going to, let's say, ground those vibrations, but also start activating the resolutions of those issues. But you have to do the hard work, or the paying of attention, the reading, the focusing, the thinking through those things as well. So
this is what I really like, Lada, that you bring this up, because in my mind alone, these remedies, like, yeah, they kind of help, but you know, the issues are, they need to be worked with, guys, and I hope you understand it. And once you start releasing these, you know, truly within your consciousness being, you will start seeing different relationship, different situations. Things will start to change and shift. Yeah, I think I mentioned everything here. Mars, think more. Yeah, Pluto, Mars, Moon. Like maybe we can, yeah, Pluto, Mars, Moon, hard aspect. Also can indicate anger issues. You know, conjunctions as well. Conjunctions are kind of weird ones, but mostly still I see this with conjunctions as well. I want to be, you know, the reason I have a hard time saying this is because conjunctions are, in my mind, they're like 70-30 or like 80-20 aspects. It's like what you do with the energy. Yes, squares and oppositions at times as well. It's just harder. In my mind, conjunctions still, it's a little easier to work with, is what I want to say. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Pluto Mars Sun or Pluto Mars Moon, I have that Pluto Mars opposition, Mars conjunct Sun opposite Pluto, and I do have anger. My dad was quite angry. He still is, but I always suppress my anger. I don't know how to express anger. I run from anger. I stifle it. and then I just explode sometimes, and that's
That's the Pluto. That's the Pluto there, unfortunately, I think.
very healthy.
Oh. Um, so yeah, you mentioned Sun, Pluto, Mars.
Yes. Sun,
Everything is connected in hard aspect.
um, Sun conjunct Mars opposite Pluto, all within less than a degree. All of them very tight. And they affecting the ninth house. Pluto is in the ninth. Sun is the father. Mars is the ruler of the 10th. So again, father figure. In my case, is definitely father figure, because he had a lot of anger. He would express it very readily, very fly off the wall. What is that called? And I learned to be the opposite, to suppress mine, never to show it, never to.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. Do you still think, or do you have do you remember the moment where you were like, you saw your father really angry and you were like, no, I'm never going to be like him?
I
Was
think
there a moment of that?
it's nonstop to this
Okay.
day. I don't even remember when it started. He was always like
So
that. He would shout
this
a
is
lot, and
this is one of the keys actually for you if you want to work on it a little bit. um,
I think
to
I
start.
remember he was hitting my mom. Yeah, I remember that
Okay,
moment.
so that's very intense, first
Yeah,
and foremost.
but I love him to bits at the same time, which is so weird. I have Venus there as well, so.
That's a good good thing, I would say. Just something for you to ponder, and if somebody else out there has something else similar to that, is look at that situation, that is specific situation where you were, you saw him hitting her, or angry, pissed off, and think, and even if possible go into the feeling state of what you had there, and
Anger.
look at the judgments and thoughts that start to come up towards him, and stay there a little bit, um, and whatever comes up, allow it to come up.
Powerlessness. I wanted to
Powerlessness.
I wanted to go hit, I wanted to hurt him so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt so powerful and little. Yeah, and I have a lot of powerlessness nowadays as well. No matter what I achieve, how well I do, I still feel like a little powerless person, little, it's very gradually the feelings of power coming, but still now I project them to the government, now I project
Mm-hmm.
them to, other stronger figures. And it's anger. Yeah. A lot of anger inside. So
Do you know what you wanted to do in that moment situation?
sorry.
Do you know what you wanted to do, like actually wanted to do in that situation or moment when you saw that image? Or
um I wanted to hurt back. Or I wanted him to hurt. I wanted to see him hurt for what he's done. It's kind of vengeful in a sense, but
now, this is one exercise for, I would say, for more advanced people, because please guys understand this, these are topics really hard, deep, but actually in your mind's eye you can do that. You can literally go into those places and do everything you actually wanted to do. Does that make sense?
oh, okay.
You can you can basically just beat him up there if you want to, because this is actually, I want to just kind of drive this point home, is because this is actually what, for you guys, is what Lada actually wanted to do. She wanted to go there, it seemed like, in like hurt him and almost like defend your mom, as I understand it as well.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some. Mm-hmm.
I wanted also like more like an angel to appear towards him and to tell him this is wrong. So he could never, maybe I would imagine that instead of beating him up. But what
I
happened,
was
he became very spiritual, and he's never been like that since he became spiritual. But he still, he gets angry, but he's never hit. So I would imagine this with the angel, because I wanted some supernatural power to intervene and to show him it is wrong. It's not good what you're doing. And yeah, I'll do that. I don't want to imagine beating him up.
do that, and at the same time you do that, pay attention to your emotional state as well. Look at how the things within your body are changing. So you mentioned powerless. This is very, very common with Pluto opposite or square sun. Do your best to notice those feelings, sensations, emotions that come up. And when you start to change that, guys, you can beat up, I promise, in those visualizations, you can do those, whatever it needs for you to do to kind of change that memory, to shift that feeling and sensation. And that's one of the important parts there as well. When you're done in those moments, make sure whatever you do there, that you're emotionally in a better place when you come out of it, let's say.
Uh-huh.
Does it make sense? Like, even if you imagine that angel there, see that angel there, and that like his or the angel is like, caressing him and making him good, and you're like, in the end, whatever comes, maybe the mother and father are hugging, and the family is a healthy family unit, or what, basically whatever you need to do there, to change that situation and to change your emotional state is important. Does it make sense? Or
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I still react to him. People wonder, why do you react so strongly to it, that he says something and I shout back, and because I haven't resolved those early phase issues. And even to this day, if he tells something, I feel like I have to obey it. Like, he's fixing now the house that I bought in Bulgaria, and he says like, no, let's put tiles here, not wood. And I just don't want to go into a power struggle with him, because I know how angry I'll get. So I'm just willing to give up the power to him to decide, just so I don't see him fly off and get. Yeah, so it is affecting you for life, for sure. That.
I think this is a bit of a difficult situation. Obviously, you can, because you need to be aware, like, if before you go into these situations with, let's say, almost confrontation, or putting up boundaries, or stating your desires and stating what you want, is you need to understand. I think it makes it easier a little bit, like, what can happen. Like, if you're in your mind, you understand, like, okay, we can get into an argument and he can just like go away, and basically our relationship will be ruined. If you're okay with that, basically, then it's easier for you to make the stand, like, I want these tiles,
Yeah.
that this is my home. I want these tiles, this is important for me, you know um but one of the suggestions I would have for you is also to look at the judgments you still might have towards him from those situations. If you can understand these judgments very clearly, this needs forgiving as well. But forgiveness can't happen, in my mind, until you understand what you need to forgive the person for. So, guys, and Lada, look at why you are judging the father. Why are you? Some of you might be judging the mother. What are you judging with them? What is the actual thing? And now, this takes a little bit emotional time working through those and releasing those judgments as well. So give yourself a little time there. Mm-hmm. Don't force yourself to forgive, because usually anger comes first. You need to go through that and then see it as a blessing later.
Profound. Thank you so much, Ian.
I've
Almost like
done
the counseling for me here.
I've done so much work on this myself. and now luckily with others as well. So yeah, Venus. Oh yeah, Venus. We think we need to mention Venus again here. Yeah. Okay. So Venus we mentioned last time, but we didn't mention Saturn aspects. And very often Venus in hard aspect to Saturn. This literally makes you unable to see your worth, just feeling no worth at all. Just very low valuation of yourself. And usually the Saturn rules, what I've noticed very often is that it rules some of the houses associated with the parents again, the home situation, the grandparents. Or if it doesn't, it's still usually someone elderly, more mature figure in the home environment, early home environment, who this issue is associated with. Again, it can go with the family lines or within the family lines, you know, from one generation to the other, or it can be something the person actually says to you as well. Very, very difficult to handle, I would say, but not impossible. And again, I bring in Nicola because I really love Nicola's remedy here, which is a painting with Neptune and Venus and Saturn. Really important. And I took it a little bit of a step further. I also started because I have this, unfortunately, I'll be really honest with you guys. It's hard to admit this for some reason, but anyway, I started using these as myself as well, and I started using composing music even with what's the Saturn and Venus. I started composing music, and it's a really good to put these things to work, you know, in like practical usage. You're using that difficult energy into creating something beauty art, you know, Venus. And now I'm starting to see that Neptune, you know, the higher octave of Venus is also in play a lot of the times, but you can use these metaphysical remedies as well. But
Neptune
when,
play
yeah,
with
go ahead.
what? Sorry,
Go
is
ahead.
Neptune is in play with what? Often with what
Uh,
thing?
Also with worth, I'm starting to see um,
Yeah.
self-worth. Yeah, it's because it's a new thing that I've started to test out. But you know, the higher octave of Venus, Neptune, they're kind
Mm-hmm.
of interlinked there.
Yeah. Okay.
So testing it out, but seeing already things there.
Okay.
Um,
So
yeah.
both remedies for Venus and Neptune hard aspects would be maybe composing music. That's hard. I mean,
Uh, it used to be more harder, but in this day and age, we do have computers,
oh, okay.
and you can use computer programs that are, you know, they're, we call them MIDI pianos. Basically, you connect a piano that is like a piano. You connect it to a computer. You download a software, and you can start creating very different kinds of music, like
Mm.
in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So it's not super hard, and it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. It doesn't have to be super amazingly amazing. You know, you don't have to be Mozart or Beethoven immediately. Just make sounds, like make sounds. But it's really good. It's a very good release with this. Yeah, guys. Trust me, guys, a little bit with this. But with Saturn, again, with Saturn, it needs to be practical. The kind of proving your worth to yourself needs to be a little bit practical as well. So again, making lists is good. First start with like 10 things I'm good at, 10 things why I'm worthy. Do that every day. Do that every day. Start doing, maybe 10 is too much for starters. Start with 5. Start with 5 and do that every day. Like, this is, I do this is why I'm worthy. Da 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 da. Annoying at first, really annoying at first, but it helps. And it starts to, the Saturn, the Saturn snowball starts to tumble there, or to grow. So the worth kind of starts to build, the more practically you start to, you like, for example, you start to, oh, every day I'm writing this, so, oh, I might be really good at this actually. So, you know, these kinds of examples. Oh yes, the very important with this is that one of the deeper beliefs with this is that you think that you're not deserving of these things. You're not deserving of good things. You're not deserving of money. You're not deserving of success. You don't deserve nice things in life, beautiful clothes, jewelry, food, you know, good food.
Saturn Venus hard aspect, they feel this.
Saturn Venus hard aspect, yes. And it's very often I've seen it be to do still with some beliefs within the family as well. Like these beliefs have crossed over to you, unfortunately. Was there something? I think we got most of it here. I brought an example here as well. Maybe we can look at it really quickly. I just wanted to tie it down a little bit. How long have we gone already doing this?
We've gone like an hour.
Oops. Okay, let's maybe end this. I have more, but let's start.
Yeah, you're
start to
teaching
wrap it
also
up.
a 5-6 hour course on it.
Yes.
So, and if anyone wants to take, look, Ian is an amazing teacher. Those patterns you're gonna learn and remedies and everything. He's gonna be making it on the 23rd of May. But if you can't be present live, or if you're watching this video 2 years after that, the courses are available on the website. I'm putting a link below. They're always there if you want to learn, and you can always email Ian even if you can't be live. He can, you know, if you have a question about something.
Totally. Yes, guys. Looking forward to it this Sunday. Talk about a lot of this stuff and going deeper as well. But let's look at quickly at this example as well, so we can tie it together. In this example, you know, we started with Neptune in the 4th, so we can literally immediately see. You can see? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We have Neptune in the 4th here. Immediately, this speaks, you know, about the invisibility, not being seen. You know, but I know this person personally, so I know, you know, there was an absent thing going on, and like you, Lada, mentioned the alcohol thing. This was going on here as well, and you know, it left a bit of a hole within the person to be filled up later on in life. And why I also brought this example, because you can see Venus here, here in opposition. You know, it's a bit of a tight one as well. You can imagine this isn't the most comfortable one as well. And you know, we can add even this is the ascendant ruler, so it's I would say maybe even a little bit more painful, you know. And one of the things I wanted to point your attention to, guys, as well, is look at always what houses the planets are ruling for clues of which area these issues might originate from. So in this case, look at first and foremost the traditional house, and then, you know, I would use both modern and traditional. But let's say in this case, Saturn is ruling the 4th house here as well. So we can make a pretty good, you know, assumption that these issues, these problems, these emotional issues, this lack of self-worth is most likely to do with the family, early childhood. We can even say most likely the mother side of the things. You know? And, you know, I wanted to really kind of illustrate it with this example. You know, I did it really in a short time with this example, but I hope it really gives you kind of the visual like sense of what we can do with astrology and how we can see these patterns in our lives.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That was so in depth. You made us a lecture here.
It went a little bit deeper than I thought, but I guess you know, these things happen for a reason, and I really hope you know, a lot of you guys are out there and it's like, oh, you know, I had this and now I feel lighter and I feel more freedom in my life. Like I don't have to be responsible for my parents all the time. I
Mhm.
mean, I can just say no, you know, because this is this is why I do this work, because it, you know, it has given me so much freedom, and I hope it will give you
Oh, because
some
especially
as
the
well.
Saturn aspects, they make you feel so guilty and responsible, and it's that's my mom has Saturn opposition Moon, so she's been
Mm,
watching her mom on bed for 15 years. She can't leave
Jesus.
for one night. She can't. Just like whenever she's come to see me here for a month, she has to hire women, and now she's literally carrying her own hands, and everyone tells, and she doesn't. My grandmother doesn't remember, doesn't know what's happening, you know, and that's carried out for years. And we tell her,
Mm,
listen, you'll die yourself. You don't
yes.
have a single day off. You change diapers 5 times a day. You carry her. It's like, let's put her in a nursing home. She doesn't
Yes.
understand who she is. She doesn't know. She's like, no, I have a duty. They can harm her there. And this Saturn makes you feel like, no, I have to. I'm obliged to, you know. It's and this harms, and we're telling her, mom, please don't. Someone else professional can take care of that. So
Yes.
that's how I can see that someone can overtake responsibility when Saturn is there involved, to even be manipulated into
Mm.
that by someone. So with Pluto and Saturn, so true, you know.
And guys, if you are in those extreme examples, there are usually, most often, like 99% of the time, there are solutions out there. You know, there are good homes out there. There are good carers out there. There aren't always only bad homes.
Yeah.
Do the research, go and meet them. You know, solutions are out there, so you don't have to suffer all the time and constantly.
Venus, Saturn, I've seen women in particular that their partners can, you know, bully them into looking better or something. Or they can tell them, oh, you put a bit of weight, and the criticism, they can feel forced into trying to perfect, to, and with Pluto Venus as well, they'll even go into operations or surgeries and things like that. It's easier to manipulate you, how you look, and your self-worth based on appearance as well. That mostly for women, I've seen that, you know, that they get very down on themselves the moment, you know, someone brings it up to them that maybe, you know, they're not up to perfection. So often you'd see them looking very good, Venus Saturn combination. You'd see them always the ones that are perfect with makeup, and you know, because they're so sensitive to this outer criticism they hear. And again, that's they're doing too much.
They're doing too much, and an internal thing needs to be looked at as well.
Mm.
Because if you constantly work only on the outside, you're internally you will feel like, you know, crap. Basically, you like Saturn. What Saturn actually does, it, especially in the hard aspect, I would say it kind of puts some change on you, or like you know, like if you think about, you know, constantly worrying about your appearance, constantly makeup, constantly doing this, these are change. Actually, this
Mm.
isn't freedom. You know, this is like servitude. You're in service. You're like, you're a slave to those thoughts. You're a slave to those ideas and beliefs you have about these. I'm not saying you shouldn't do makeup at all. No, I'm not saying extreme things, but you know, if you're going like, I need to do this, or otherwise people won't love me. You
Mm.
know, this is a clue for you that, you know, something needs to change here.
What is the reason you're doing it? Are you doing it because you enjoy doing it, or are you doing it because you don't feel good enough?
Exactly. This. Oh, I'm really happy you mentioned that. This is one of the like one of the real things you need to be asking yourself when you notice yourself doing these things. Like, why are you doing this?
Mm. Thank you so much, Ian. I loved doing those lessons with you. They're lessons you're teaching us, and we're going deep in the psychological. You know, we've rarely done this here. So, if anyone would like also a reading with Ian, the Freedom Astrology. I love your
Yes.
name, the Freedom Astrology. I do like it a lot. So there, I'll put the link below. You can contact Ian. I'm not sure if there are promotional readings now.
I think there's some left still.
On,
Some
on
left still.
self-worth, yeah, on the self-worth reading.
Mhm.
Wonderful. And do come and join us live, or if not, you can check out that webinar, and it teaches you how to make the best decisions and deals for yourself, how to make the best negotiations according to your horoscope, how to overcome blockages that affect there your self-worth. So wonderful. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity to present this. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this and get a lot out of it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.